favor of the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force. So you see a helmet being brought out for wicketkeeper Josh De Silva. He's going to stand up to the stumps.
And what he told Terrence Hines there, I don't know if you picked it up in the effects mics, he said nothing changes. Stick to your normal length. Sometimes you see when keepers come up to the stumps, the length goes back naturally. See if Hines can find it.
When you don't use Momo, you are forced to quarrel.
Terrence Hines there, I don't know if you picked it up in the effects mics, he said nothing changes. Stick to your normal length.
Save yourself from quarreling. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3# to pay and enjoy zero charges below 5K. That's the power of Momo.
Cameron Anderson isn't one of those players that looks to muscle the ball.
What a take. They won't get the decision, but that is a superb take from Joshua De Silva. You can see how he's come up with the bounce.
He has, and on a pitch that has offered a bit of extra bounce. Ball got based on Anderson and Joshua De Silva, but it's a fantastic take, as you said. Rose with the bounce, and it's been an area of concern for Joshua De Silva at times. So far, he's looked very sharp behind the stumps. I think when he lost his place in the West Indies team, he was just looking a little tired for me at times. Maybe he was carrying a few area of concern for Joshua. Wasn't moving as freely behind the stumps. The runs weren't coming off his bat either. But looks renewed, refreshed and energized.
That's the power of Momo.
Tired for me at times. Maybe he was carrying a few area of concern for Joshua. Wasn't moving as freely behind the stumps.
Seals talking to the batters. Seals talking to the batters.
Joshy.
Will be a change from both ends. At times during this season, we've seen Jaden Seals replace Anderson Phillip, sometimes swap ends, but De Silva quite happy to go to something different from both ends going into this lunch break. They want to be ruthless. They'll want one more, and especially Anderson, who's pushed to scoring. Still 210 runs away. It's a lot of runs. Kimo Paul still to come. And then you're into Moti, Pramal, now Smith.
Similar to Kamal Savory, the Red Force wouldn't be too risks. Looking to muscle the ball. They'll know they just need to create one chance. With a batter playing in that fashion, I think that chance will be presented to them. Here's Josh James.
There's a bit of a tumble on in delivery. Big frame, 6'5" to get down there.
Keep an eye on his length in this spell. As we said, just for the 8 overs in that Guyana first innings. Picked up 1 for 36. It was a little inconsistent in his length for me, just a little too short. Let's see if he's watched over the past couple of days so he can make that adjustment.
The field is set for the short ball. So, brush the body on the way through. There is that deep square, and they've added the deep fine along with deep point. And for James, who gets that bounce and inward movement, could be uncomfortable for Anderson if he can get it a bit higher. Getting a harder ball as well, coming in a bit earlier than he did in that first innings.
Yeah, it seems to be the way they've tried to use Joshua James with him employing that shorter length. On this pitch though, I think you can use that shorter ball as more of a surprise, but you've got to be predominantly fuller.
Yeah, trying to bowl straight and just missing his line early days in the spell.
He's just got to keep it simple at this stage. Nice, good line and length. Just honor about that off stump and let the pitch do the rest. As he said, 6'4", 6'5", delivers from a height. What makes bowlers such as this a very challenging prospect is the fact that they can get the ball to bounce from a fuller length.
And that's a way to score as well. As expansive as Anderson has been, sometimes that's a sensible way to score. You just get an easy one with the field slightly back now. There, the likes of Phillip and Jaden Seals at mid-on and mid-off are on the edge of the circle, so that becomes one. So it's about almost supplementing the boundary options with the singles as well.
Yeah, it's low-risk scoring, isn't it? It's dropping the ball into the gaps. Best batters are able to maneuver the ball into those gaps, play with soft hands and get off strike.
Going down the leg side, missing his line. You can just see where the inner fielders, the ones that are close in, and now it's different because they're walking towards James, but look at the point fielder. Mohammed at extra cover after he shines the ball is going to go back. Look where Anderson Phillip is standing. That's one for Anderson at mid-on. Mohammed will go back to extra cover. So you have the opportunity now, whereas in the first innings they were quite tight. Just staying back, thinking about the boundary option. There again, easy single. Smart batting from the Harper Eagles, 74 for 4.
I think it's important De Silva keeps it very simple with Josh James on. I think at the risk of even just being a little wider, that off stump, he's got to be in that area, that line. It's a bit straight for me. Still a lot on offer, as you said, just 16 overs bowled. Bars still. These conditions suit Josh James ideally, but he just hasn't executed so far.
The Red Force have kept the helmet out there, so it tells us that when Anderson gets on strike, probably comes up to the stump again, De Silva. Wow. Some deviation off the pitch.
I'm not gonna lie, just looking at young Van Lang at this stage of his career, just look at that front foot. Just goes leg side. He squares himself up quite a bit, especially when the ball's going away from him. Becomes very barrel-chested. Stay side on, hold that position for a split second longer. I wasn't sure about that one. Luckily for him, he gets off strike.
There's 30 minutes before lunch, and I think we saw it yesterday with the Harper Eagles. I'd be interested to see if De Silva is considering the option of going to an over or two of spin before lunch, just because that harder ball may get a bit of extra skid from Carey Pierre. You think if he can bowl from the opposite end that Hines is operating from now, with those rough areas, maybe he gets something out this pitch. It might be worth the look. Time will tell if De Silva actually goes there or he sticks with his pacers.
That's a good question, Nick, but for me, I think you got to stick with your pacers based on what's on offer out there. Van Lang and Kevlon Anderson. Van Lang in particular looking a bit suspect against the swinging ball at this stage of his career. Seems like a nick could happen at any time. Got to keep your seam bowlers on, especially with the ball still hard on you, as you said.
A wild heave from Van Lang. Doesn't carry to James at deep point. Red Force were confident about the run out. I think he's made it. It's almost uncharacteristic in what we've seen from Van Lang in the first innings.
As talented as he is, I think he's got a lot of work to do still, young Van Lang. But this is a valuable part of that cricketing experience, that cricketing journey. So you see that run-out chance there, just getting back home.
And let's not underestimate the decision as well from Dayton Butler. A good decision made in real time.
Sharp. It's very close indeed.
Three to get. I reckon, Mali, if these two are batting with 10 minutes to go before lunch, we'll see spin.
Possible.
We could also see a return of a Seals for a couple of overs before lunch.
Especially to a Van Lang.
And if James is not getting his radar right, we saw a number of deliveries down the leg side. I think that's a viable option.
I think what spin will do at this stage, though, is probably just rough that ball up. Land on the shiny side. I think he'll delay that. But we'll see. Once again, outer half of the bat. Not getting into a strong position there. Is Van Lang a bit upright? He's living very dangerously indeed. There's a bit of a chat coming out for Anderson and Van Lang. Maybe a word from Coach Hercules, just to see them through to lunch unscathed. No further losses. Can James find the right length? Found it only on a few occasions in that first innings.
James continuing. Joshua De Silva trying to be the first captain that delivers a title to this nation in 20 years. Darren Ganga, the last man. Kevin Imlach trying to win his third consecutive. Sometimes, Mali, it just takes winning one, and it really opens up the next few years for the Red Force. They'll look at it and say they've got a few young players coming through. James is one of them. If you can get a Jaden Seals back for the following season. Interested to see, though, how they develop batting-wise, the likes of a Cephas Cooper. They've got Kamil Puran, who's a young player who's played for SAS Cricket. There's been a few that have come through. Because when you lose a Jason Mohammed now, who fills that void at 4 for you?
Yeah, it's been an issue for the West Indies as a whole. Finding those top order batters that score consistently. We've had flashes, but especially at international cricket, we need to try and get batters into a purple patch. We need to find batters who can performed similar to Marnus Labuschagne. At least when he first got into international cricket, he was like in a purple patch for a couple of years. We don't manage to sustain that success with the bat for long enough for me. Aerial.
Another time where they've gone full and Van Lang hasn't really come forward. Playing the ball from mainly the crease.
That's the area for me where he has to work on.
You got Glovo. You got Glovo. Order a Glovo and receive it in minutes.
What advice are you giving them? Are you asking him to make more of a pronounced step with that left foot, towards the ball?
It's not too much he can do at this stage.
Yeah, not now, but going forward. That looks straight. Looks close, and the finger goes up. Half the side gone. Red Force are close.
That's the length. This time just nipping back. Similar to the delivery that would have removed Chemo Paul in that first innings from Josh James. It's been a little inconsistent with his length. But here, just a tad bit fuller. Camped on the back foot. Good decision. Maybe just clipping that leg stump, top of the leg stump. He's got to go though. Jonathan Van Lang, his season comes to an end. He was looking quite shaky, to be fair, in this innings. James picks up his first, and as he said, Nickel halfway through the side. They were smelling it earlier. They can almost taste it now, the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force.
One of the stars of the 2026 edition of this competition, Chemo Paul, 12 wickets and 250s, along with that 49 he got in the first innings. And if it's one thing he told us yesterday at the end of play, he will fight. And he's got to fight in a massive way if his team is to get anywhere close to this 281. They still need 202 more, and they've lost half their side.
Yeah, alongside Jaden Seals, you'd say Chemo Paul. Standout player in this match.
Evan Lewis as well, with that 100.
With that 100 second innings. Paul has been consistent. He's contributed in both innings with the ball. Can he do so with bat? Gets a sharp single to get off the mark. You reckon Nick still thinks spin will get a go? With that,
Maybe not after that wicket. 21 minutes to lunch. They'll be wanting more. They'll be ruthless and hungry, the Red Force. One thing we've seen, and you've been very vocal, Mali, about James and his consistency. This is the second time, though, when he's got it right, he's a handful. And I remember that 6 he took at Kensington Oval last season. He had the ball seaming around a lot. There was some extra grass on the pitch in that game, and when he can land the ball in that area, he's a handful with the bounce and what he's able to do off the pitch.
Yeah, and he could have been a real handful here. I'm just not finding the ideal length often enough. That's beautifully played. Chemo Paul showing that power through the offside. One that just sat up from Terence Hines. At that pace, he can't afford to be too short either. Stand and deliver from Chemo Paul.
Well on top of the bounce there and shot. Full of confidence from a man that's batted well this season. And he's come in a lot earlier this year as well with a new responsibility at 6, batting 7 in this game, but he would have been used to facing the relatively new ball. And because of that boundary, fielders slightly back, you get an easy single.
Yeah, he's really improved his batting for me. Coming out of the under-19s. Batting has just gotten better and better. That art of batting and constructing an innings possesses immense power as well. Chemo Paul. He's had a fantastic game. He may end up winning, may not end up winning this title, but he can say that he's put his hand up in this final. He's given his team every opportunity that he possibly could. Running tireless.
Big Crystal, get a pen you can rely on.
Away. Need a partnership. Need just a 50-run partnership or so between this pair. At least 50-run partnership to give themselves any hope. Getting close to this total. Still 196 to get. All of a sudden, a few smiles from Jaden Seals. Not quite as aggressive, as competitive. Maybe feeling a lot better with 5 wickets down.
Ever since the Silvers come up to the stumps, Anderson hasn't been as expansive. He was scoring at a runner ball a few overs ago. He slowed down, and you think, Mali, even with Morty and Shamar Joseph to come, we've seen that they're more than capable. It's got to be this partnership. They've got to take a large amount of the runs out of that deficit. If they're to get close, the Eagles, you'd back Morty in the low order to get maybe 100, maybe 120, but you're still 200 runs away.
Long way away indeed.
Played by Anderson, 85 for 5.
Yeah, 5 runs from that over. If you remember, Nikhil, when Joshua De Silva first stood up to the stumps, Kevin Anderson just seemed to lose his composure a little bit. Playing across the line, looking to take the aerial route, maybe looking to hit the ball a bit too hard. But since then, he's just gone back into that bubble. He's looked a lot more assured, a lot more like the Kevlin Anderson that we've grown to see over the past few seasons. Can Josh James find that length again? Chemo Paul this time. He's got that deep square leg in position and fine leg for that short ball, wide fine leg for that top edge. 2 slips and a gully.
Struggled a little bit with his radar and a lot of deliveries down the leg side. Sometimes that's the difficulty, and I remember a few of the New Zealand players, Mali, telling me about facing OJ Shields in that test series last year. It never feels settled because you almost don't know when he's going to get it right. And it's similar with James. When he gets the ball right, like we saw against Chemo Paul, who he bowled in the first innings, and that previous wicket of Van Lang, it's a challenging ball to face.
Yeah, it's that unpredictability which can pose problems.
Did you find those bowlers in your day were harder to face?
Definitely. The erratic ones that could still produce those wicket-taking deliveries. They'd be all over the place. You'd have to concentrate, and then out to the blue, they'd produce this jaff. It's like, where did that come from? Why me?
Doesn't carry. Excellent effort though from Anderson Phillip, who put his body on the line.
Definitely did. He's a fantastic athlete, Anderson Phillip. Had to dive forward in the end. Couldn't quite get his fingers under that one. Looking for power was Kimo Paul. That one was on the up. Looking to muscle that away. Hard length, bit of extra bounce, hitting high on the bat. James could get it right here. Could be quite devastating. Just has to find that slightly fuller length, and the line has to be off stump, just outside. Better. Drifted a little bit too straight in the end, but better length that.
Still keep going back to that opening day, Malian. When the Red Force were in an even worse off position to this, they were 87 for 6. And you just thought the title was going back to Guyana, and it could very well still do, but it just tells you about the ebb and flow of this format, and it's why I think this format is so revered, because of the differences and difficulties of sustaining that excellence over 4 days.
That's the length. That's the length. It is. It's the purist's most favorite form, the longer format.
And I asked Vinod yesterday if he thought young people still wanted to play this format. I think to set our players up for the T20 and the leagues around the world, we've got to get them, the young ones around the region, falling in love with this format again. I absolutely love this format, but there are a lot of people my age that don't watch. They prefer the shorter format, and they prepare and structure their games around that shorter format. Nice try from Kimo Paul, should be a couple. So that's how do we get those young people falling in love with this again? And I think this final will go a long way. The intensity with which the cricket has been played, 89 for 5.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Nick. How do we get these youngsters more involved in the red ball format, the longer format of the game? For me, it's the storylines. And
yeah, carried it. Get out of it.
And a thoroughly enjoyable final. The 4 days of cricket, it's been hard fought. Under 200 runs for the Harper Eagles to win. 5 wickets needed for the Red Force. I think because so much was riding on it as well. Both teams want to be a part of history. You think about the Leon Johnson side and the fact that he had 6 titles to his name. Imlak hunting a similar feat.
Really good, TJ.
Would be his third if he can get there. And then you've got on the other side of things a team that hasn't won at all.
Go ahead, TJ.
And it's the team that has struggled to get up and win a title over the past 20 years. That's in the ascendancy at the moment.
Wow. Excellent from Kevlon Anderson, who has taken his foot off the accelerator for the last few overs against Terence Hines. Pressed on it there.
Yeah, played that one with a bit of disdain, did Kevlon Anderson. Swatted away through that leg side.
Yeah.
That shot forces an adjustment in the field. Joshua James at third man. He's going to come across to fine leg. In fact, he's going to square leg. He's going the long way. Looks like Amir Jangu is going to come into fine leg. So they're going to plug the gap on that onside boundary. That square leg boundary. Just the 3 fielders on the onside. No one up in the 30-yard circle, as you'd say.
Maybe more runs.
Into the 30s is Anderson. So after quite a chaotic start, let's say, from Kevlon Anderson, he's quieted down nicely. He's gone back into the mode that we've grown accustomed to seeing him.
We're going to get a good sense now into the thinking of the Harper Eagles. They're 10 minutes to lunch. Do they continue attacking, or do these two, almost like what Seals and Phillip did, where they were going quite fluently, but for the last 5 overs of day 1, they completely eliminated all risks and decided they're going to get to the end. With the scoring comes high risk. You think, Mali, if they're 6 down going into lunch, losing one of these two, you're in a difficult position. Whereas if you go in with these two batting, the way they've scored in the last 15 to 20 minutes, there will still be some optimism there.
Definitely. Such a thin line between success and failure. One wicket here could just completely change the complexion again. Got to keep grinding. Got to take it as deep as possible, this Harpy Eagles batting lineup. Especially if you keep a few wickets in hand. They've lost 5 already, but if they were to keep a few wickets in hand, it would allow them that luxury to launch possibly after lunch and later on in the day. But those 5 wickets down, absolutely crucial in terms of the mode in which they go about it. Even if they were 60 for 1 at this stage, that foundation set.
Go. 95 for 5 after that quick single, and we always thought coming into it, it would have been interesting to see how they went about it, because you don't associate Chandapal, Nandu, their style of play especially, with having to be quite proactive. And in the end, when they actually dismissed them so early in the day, they could have actually played their normal way.
Exactly.
Because usually they score around 3 runs and over.
Similar to Evan Lewis this morning. Could have just gone about playing normal cricket. It would have been good enough. Same for Nandu and Chandapal. It seemed like they thought they had to get off to a flyer. And I think that's because they knew the quality they were up against as well. Wanted to stay as positive as possible, maybe looking to put pressure back onto Seals and Phillip because of just how good they've been this season.
And I wonder if they'll reflect on the 5 dismissals. The batters that are out already will reflect and say, this should be 4. Will be 4. So another missing line from Joshua James.
Yeah, poor line, poor length.
I was just thinking, Mali, if you reflect on the dismissals and you wonder how many of the balls were actual good deliveries by the Red Force. Did we force them to bowl their best ball to remove us? Or did we gift some of the wickets? I think about Savory's shot after hitting that boundary. And yes, maybe had that gone for 4 or 6, we'd be sitting here having a different conversation. But it's always the tough part in this format to try to map out your blueprint and find that ideal way of chasing runs on a final day.
Beauty, beauty. That's what we're talking about. Touching down just on that off stump outside. Bit of extra bounce, slightly fuller length. Have a look at the carry on the way through to the wicketkeeper. Every now and again you get a glimpse of what Joshua James could be if he was consistent. So much to work with. And just to go back to your point of the wickets that would have fallen today, for me, maybe Tevin Imlach, the only one to say maybe I could have left, but it was a good delivery nonetheless. All the other batters must say they contributed quite heavily to their own demise. Nandu getting the hands out in front, just 3 deliveries, not really giving himself an opportunity.
And that's probably where he'd want to operate, bowling quite straight. Joshua James getting the ball to finish in and around the hip of Kimo Paul, tucking him up. Chance this. Anderson Phillip is under it and should take it. He does. On the brink of lunch. The Red Force may have got the most important wicket. Partnership broken, and it's the senior man, Kimo Paul, dismissed.
Just as you were saying, Nikhil, the difference between 5 and 6. Absolutely huge. Joshua James, once again, better length. He's gotten Kimo Paul both times in this final. Bowled him in the first innings. This time, Anderson Phillip takes a good catch at mid-on. 6 wickets down now, and they're staring down the barrel of the Harpy Eagles. 99 for 6, and Kimo Paul's season comes to an end.
Huge moment on the final day as Gurikesh Moti walks in before lunch. Don't know if he would have been expecting after walking off the field about an hour and a half ago that he would be coming back on with the bat. And Kevlon Anderson, who's fought his way to 32, he's running out of partners.
He definitely is. It goes back to that point. They're just contributing to their own downfall, too many of these Happy Eagles batters. 50 for 1 at this stage still gives them an opportunity with 2 sessions to play. But they've gone a little too hard too soon for me. And it's played into the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force's hands.
Especially, in hindsight is always 2020, but especially 3 minutes to lunch. You wouldn't want to have gifted the Red Force, even if they went in there 5 down without another run on the board, there would have still been slight doubts about the partnership, which had got up very quickly.
I think they've just exposed that middle order to the new ball. Savey tried to counter-attack, but that was never really going to be the mode in which he could continue for that long.
And 99 for 6, maybe 1 over until lunch.
So Joshua James has come to the party here in the second innings. Probably taken him a few days. He's had a watch, looked at some of the lengths in which the Harpy Eagles and also his own Red Force teammates, the lengths they've employed. And he's made that adjustment and reaped the rewards. 2 for 12 from his 4. He'd love to sign off this season with a couple more wickets indeed. He said Moti, the first class 100 on his record though.
I think the first class 100 now gets them
Wow,
quite close.
It does. Can he find something close to that? Be hoping to just survive till lunch. Anderson on strike though.
I swore that bowled him.
Seems
It's
like
going to
it,
be painful for the silver.
I think he hit the silver. Not sure how that missed the stumps. Have a look at this again. Standing up to the medium pace of Terence Hines. Fantastic delivery, pitch just on that off stump, going away. Bit of bounce. Hitting Josh De Silva on the body. Good thing he called for that helmet.
I think because of where the ball starts, the line of the ball at the start, De Silva may be just blinded. So it's quite straight, and you can see him moving around to cover the ball on off stump. Just in the end, would have reacted late. And this time goes past him down the leg side. Never easy those takes to the spinner. Imagine to the faster bowler. 100 comes up.
It comes up with that delivery just sliding down the leg side from Terence Hines. previous delivery, you noted, Nikhil, where that ball started. Maybe just unsighting Josh De Silva a little bit. But also where the ball started, lowered Kevlon Anderson into the stroke. It was on the stumps, had to play, or felt like he had to play. Now De Silva goes back. Anderson out of his crease, looking to counter the movement of Terence Hines.
And immediately takes a few steps down.
And you understand why to Terence Hines. Maybe doesn't get that extravagant bounces, maybe a Josh James, Jaden Sears, Anderson Phillip. It's because of that action. Low arms, slingy. Has to really hammer it in short to get it up high.
My question is, Mali, after the movement and then the short ball, does he still continue to come down the pitch?
I think he will. 3 deliveries or so till lunch. He's going to look to advance, I think. Just there again. But that's the length. Just pulled back slightly. Good adjustment that from Terence Hines. If Anderson is going to advance, just has to pull the length back slightly. Have a look. Not quite as full. And with him advancing, it turns into a good length delivery. Keep working away outside that off stump, Terence Hines. Almost carried to that gully fielder. Was it Cephas Cooper? Once again advancing, taking the outside edge, flies away but went down.
Nice for Morty to just come down as a senior man and let's have a word with Anderson. 1 ball to lunch. They're going to go into this break, the Harper Eagles, with some regret. The way Anderson has batted in this session, the fact that they've lost 6 wickets and have gifted a number of them to the Red Force. I would have wished they were just 4 down. You had maybe some more of that depth to come after lunch, especially the chemo. Paul, and I think that one will hurt them the most. 5 minutes to lunch and you lose him. Anyways, it's been quite the eventful session, and the Red Force are 2 sessions away from lifting this trophy. They'll need 4 wickets when we return. For the Harper Eagles, still possible. They'll need a further 177 runs, 78 runs make that if they are to win a 4th consecutive title. It's been action-packed, 8 wickets going down in this session, and cannot wait to see what we have in store post-lunch. Do join us in about 45 minutes.
When you don't use Momo, you are forced to quarrel.
Mama kabalansi. Nkuwaire 15 ate. Mama, nkuwaire 15.
Ompaire 15.
Abantu abakulu mwatandisa obuyayo mwena.
Obuyayo obuliga.
Iwe.
Ngobiyanko
Ava mu bibozi sente dange ninzade kolera ngobi nakolera sente dange.
Save yourself from quarreling. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3# to pay and enjoy zero charges below 5k. That's the power of Momo.
Abana bamaviri ako.
Best attack in the region, boys. We have the best attack in the region here, man.
Welcome back, everyone.
So called champions under a lot of pressure here, boys. Right down over.
Been greeted to
Gonna get flattened today, man.
some of the Red Force encouragement, and what a session it was before lunch. 6 wickets going down after they were bowled out with 281 runs set as a target. Just to update you, Kimo Paul fell on the stroke of lunch 5 minutes before the break, so it meant Gudakesh Moti came out at number 8. The Red Force are 4 wickets away from delivering a title, the first title in 20 years. What a special achievement it would be, and mainly because of this man, Anderson Phillip. Now up to 25 wickets, just 1 away from Gudakesh Moti, and he'll be hoping for 2 more to actually lead the charge. But the Harper Eagles will put up some resistance. They'll feel that they've still got a chance to win this game. All to play for in session 2 on day 4. Can you start and stop? Good to hear the encouragement from the Red Force. They've been quite upbeat throughout this game and would have given them a lot of confidence seeing the back of Kimo Paul. On the leg side, trying to find his radar post lunch. And we're going to also have the wickets to show you in terms of what's gone on to this point, the 6 wickets, and the manner in which the Harper Eagles batters have fallen. Going at a healthy clip, well on par. This was first wicket of the day. It was Tejaran Chandapal, full delivery, and maybe just late on it, hitting the inner portion of the bat and played on. Then after that, it was Matthew Nandu. No, it was actually Imlak, so we didn't see the Nandu wicket. He fell before those two. Nice drive, really confident push from Gudakesh Moti. He's underway.
Sweetly driven that. And need a lot more of those, the Harper Eagles. But he does possess that batting ability, a best of 110 at the first class level. Just need a partnership. Need a partnership here, the Guyana Harper Eagles. Spoke about those 6 wickets, Nikhil. Joshua James picking up 2 of those. So he'll feel more a part of this final, that he's contributed in a positive way here in the second innings. Moti looks like he's gonna continue playing strokes.
And for Joshua James as well, the wicket of Kemo Paul twice in this match. A critical wicket as well, because in the first innings, Kemo Paul was 49 and looked well set. He was almost taking the game away from Trinidad and Tobago. And then in this game, 14 and just on the stroke of lunch when they needed that wicket, needed to break the partnership, he delivered.
Yeah, in a timely manner. Spoke about that partnership, Kemo Paul and Jonathan Van Lang. At that stage, it looked like the Harpy Eagles would wrest the initiative away. But he produced that fuller length. And so far, every time he's done so, more often than not, he's reaped the rewards. He hasn't done it enough for me in the match. But here on day 4, he's picked up 2 massive wickets. And as you said, to dismiss Paul twice, who's been the standout player for the Guyana Harpy Eagles in this game. Take a lot of confidence from that. A lot of noise out in the middle. Red Force probably feeling like this is a formality for Gudakesh, Moti and Anderson. They'll have other plans. If we can get to 150 plus, still for 6 down, still give themselves an opportunity.
The umpire coming on the field. The umpire coming on the field.
Keep going, man. Keep working, man.
Felix Auguste there, Mali, a Dominican. This is a huge opportunity for him. Someone who is on the junior CWA panel from Dominica, moved to Antigua, would have played, captained the Jennings Cricket Club here, and actually had made his first class debut this season as well. So it's been lovely to put other guys into those positions. And we talked about it, I think it was on day 2, where we spoke about the other jobs in the industry and the experience and exposure cricket can give you. So another aspect for Mr. Auguste and other people looking on.
And the guy next to him as well, Joari Edwards, former Leeward Islands national player, filling up the match referee's role as well. So he's getting valuable experience alongside Michael Raghunath. He would have made his first class debut in the much disputed game at the Antigua Recreation Grounds as well.
I have an update for you.
Oh, you do?
You want it? After this delivery. Can't believe we're still talking about it on day 4, but this will surely end the debate. That game between the West Indies Academy and the Harpy Eagles is certainly a first class game, and Cricket West Indies have reached out and said so. And just to educate us and viewers, Cricket West Indies are the ones who actually deem when a game has first class status. They're able to make that distinction, and they've made it. So they were actually in the process of notifying the relevant authorities, the various pages and websites that we go to get our scores. So it is a first class game, and hopefully it'll be updated.
I hear you.
Mr. Auguste would have umpired in that game for the first time.
It just makes me think of a lot of permutations, you know, even with that being awarded first class status in the middle of a first class season. No other teams would have gotten the opportunity really to play against the West Indies Academy. Things to think about.
Just like stirring the pot.
I don't like stirring the pot. I like things being fair, regardless of who's doing it.
I don't see how that's not fair. It's just so it's a game used as preparation. Basically, the Harpy Eagles won the right by finishing top of the table to play the academy in preparation for this game.
I understand. The Harpy Eagles won the right to play the academy.
They won the right by finishing first. You earned the right then.
Right.
They made the direct qualification into this final and also had the opportunity to play against the academy
So you saw it as a reward.
Yeah, it did.
Playing the academy.
Yeah.
Or not the academy being rewarded with a first class game.
Two things can be right. Please, we'll not speak about this game any longer. We'll instead speak about the Red Force charge.
I get it. I understand. It's our governing body that determines that.
Right.
But if that's the case, I'm speaking directly to the governing body now. Make sure the West Indies Academy is a part of the next year's 4-day championship. How's that? Because at the end of the day, all I care about is West Indies cricket and the betterment of West Indies cricket. And if these young players aren't getting the exposure, one game every season, a friendly, or even if you want to deem it a first-class match, yeah, it's a first-class match, but it won't have the desired effect on the players. We can end it there now.
But let's not forget they did play the last 2 seasons, so
Exactly.
I assume the notion will be to get them back involved along with the combined campuses and colleges, because those teams provide a lot of opportunities for the players that can't make it, like Jaden Seals, into this setup.
We've spoken about how many times we have to say James Rue. You've heard that name, James Rue. We're not English, but we're just comparing and contrasting, and it's getting the adequate amount of quality games for these young players. Or what's the point? Why are you in an academy? So things to think about.
West Indies Academy will be going to Sri Lanka. They're playing a series in Sri Lanka, and actually Ryan Hercules is going on that tour, which is a huge opportunity for him. Someone that's been in and around the setup of West Indies cricket. He's going as an assistant coach, so that would be quite the opportunity.
And that's something we spoke about on day one. Maybe getting a few of these Harpy Eagles coaching staff who's been so successful over the years in and amongst at the next level.
Played by Moti post lunch, 109 for 6. If you had to think about a moment in these 4 days, Mali, where you thought really gave the advantage to the Red Force, anything stands out to you?
I have to go all the way back to day one. That 10th wicket partnership, final wicket partnership between Seals and Phillip. 98 runs coming from that pair. To me, that's been the difference in this game. You spoke about the Harpy Eagles being in the ascendancy, but they couldn't quite finish the job. And it's those extra runs that have proven vital in this match. That's the moment for me.
Minus those 98 runs from this game and from the Red Force total, you're looking at a completely different matchup. All of a sudden, the Harpy Eagles win first innings. They've got a much more substantial target to chase. Jordan Anderson starting pretty far away outside of his crease. Would you have been inclined to go with James post the break?
I would. Definitely. Give him another opportunity. He's finding the right areas just prior to lunch. They've opted to go for maybe the extra pace of Anderson Phillip. And you can see why. Giving him every opportunity, as he said. Maybe you'll get what you asked for, Nikhil, this season. A fast bowler ending the wicket-taking charts at the top.
He's 2 away from passing that man, Pulikesh Moti. 1 will even and equal him, and then 2 will go past.
Chopped away.
I always wonder if players think about that. You think Anderson Phillips knows that coming into the game?
Some players
wants the honours.
Some players do. Some are a little different.
Regardless of whether he gets it or not, it is a remarkable achievement. He played his cricket here in Antigua, where the 3 games against the Leewards, it wasn't easy batting conditions. You think about Coolidge, we know as quite a placid surface. This one had the assistance, and then obviously the game that was drawn against the Hurricanes had the assistance as well here. But it's not been straightforward conditions for fast bowling. Full credit to him.
Definitely, maybe the most helpful conditions here in the final that we've seen in Antigua during this 4-day season.
There safely in the end. I wonder if these two, Mali, let's say they bat the next hour, right? Moti and Anderson. I wonder how that affects then. Let's say they get a lot closer to maybe 110 runs to win within the next hour. It'd be a game on because you still back Shamar Joseph. Versami Pramod has shown in the past he can be really resilient at the crease with bat. Almost be that Kemar Roach effect where just refuses to get out. And you've got guys who can score at the other end.
Yeah, it's not quite over yet, and I think Kevlin Anderson is the key here. He can be that solid foundation, that anchor from one end almost. We know he can score, but a lot of the batting will have to come from his, a lot of those runs for me will have to come from his bat. He'll have to dictate the situation, being the last recognized top order batter. He's got to dictate the situation. He'll probably have to farm strike at times as well if we get into a situation such as that. He's faced 59 deliveries now. He's gotten a good idea of conditions out in the middle. Advances, punches that straight down the ground. He'll get close to the boundary. Wasn't too expansive in that stroke. Jaden Seals does very well to save one. They come back for 3. 116 for 6.
$116 for 6. 165 runs away. The Harper Eagles from a 4th consecutive title. Red Force 4 wickets away. Tell you something else, thinking about just hearing you make that point in the previous over, Mali. Anderson is quite a good player of spin. He plays both the reverse and the conventional sweep, and you think when Carey Pear comes into the attack, which he will at some stage if they can get past these 4 faster bowlers, you probably want him present because of the ability to sweep and put pressure on a spinner. And you've got the left-handed Moti at the other end. It might be a bit easier for him with the angle.
He's got a very good temperament as well, Kevlin Anderson. Quite even keel. Doesn't get too high with success or low with failure.
Constant communication. You always talk about the guys who play international cricket like Jaden Seals dominating this level. Moti's dominated this season. And you want someone like a Kevlin Anderson to show why he was picked at the test format. Yes, it's only been 2 tests and one test match it was, and it hasn't necessarily gone his way, but the fact that he was considered for that, to show that pedigree in a final like this, all the chips stacked against you, this is the time.
100%, he would have shown all that class and potential to get selected to the West Indies team. It was a little unfortunate with the circumstances. Coming up against Australia, pink ball test at Sabina Park. Shoehorned into the opening position, something that he wouldn't have done too much of. I always thought he was almost like a bit of a lamb sent to the slaughter in that situation on debut. Look back, I think maybe Shea Hope, with his opening experience in the past, could have just filled that role, but it wasn't to be. Kevin Anderson, he's got to fight his way back now. This is all part and parcel of being a professional sportsman. When faced with adversity, that's when the cream does rise to the top. Can he find a way, get his career back on track? Something I heard Craig Brathwaite speak about, listening to an interview with Craig Brathwaite prior to that playoff match versus Trinidad. Speaking about Wickham and how well he would have been doing this season, but also maybe not scoring the runs he would have liked last year. And it's all about how you respond to the lean times. You're gonna have failures in cricket, especially as a batter. In fact, you're gonna fail more often than you succeed. So how do you deal with that mentally? That goes up a notch when you go to international cricket. It's international scrutiny. Game gets broken down, overanalyzed, and spoken about.
And I suppose, and it wasn't his first season last year, but it was his first big season. It's always a challenge to follow it up. You always hear about in tournaments, the shortened format. Guys, when you're new, you have that opportunity to have the factor of the unknown. But then when you come back the next season, bowlers are more experienced, they've seen you, there's obviously the chance for the analyst to use that video footage to work you out. And it would have been playing on his mind, the fact that he had such a good season last year, he got into the test team, and then 2026 hasn't gone the way that he would have liked. Highest score of 41 against the Volcanoes. Anderson, would you think a big knot to win a game would restore a lot of the confidence and almost the belief in the work that he's put in? 4 from the over, 120 for 6.
That's a good point, Nick. Where players such as Anderson as well can benefit at this stage of their career is on things like an A tour. Not having the best season, he's going to play 4 or 5 games this 2026 season. There was an A tour available to him.
There's one coming up, as far as I know. I can't confirm, but there's one this year. So that will be helpful. And I'm sure he'll be one of the guys considered.
Exactly. Those fringe players looking to force their way into the international setup. It's very important. You see a lot of A tours being played around the world. It's a breeding ground for the next generation of international talent. A lot of boards, international boards, use these A tours in that way, especially when dealing with young players coming out of the under-19s or the age groups level.
Just quietly, Mali has been well put together. 16 deliveries from Gudakesh Moti, where he's not played any. If you compare his shot making to the top order, they've tried to hit the ball out the park. They've tried to take on risks. Moti's been really intelligent in the areas he's accessed in these 10 runs. Very early days in the innings, but the construction of the innings so far been very intelligent.
And if you look at the most successful batters in this game, in these conditions, are the ones that have presented a full face more often than not. They've looked to play straight.
He beat that fielder to the left, now going to the right of deep point. Evan Lewis. What about his innings?
Yeah.
Lewis, the way he went about it. A lot of cover drives, few down the ground as well.
A lot of leaves outside the off stump. That's where that foundation has to be built. That's where the openers for the Harpy Eagles maybe missed a trick here today. Just went a bit too hard too soon. Probably feeling that pressure, knowing they were up against 2 highly skilled seam bowlers in these conditions. looked like they thought they had to get off to a flyer.
I did flirt with the idea this morning of whether they would send, and I didn't know how much they would be chasing, and maybe at 280 you didn't need to force the issue, but if it was 320, 330, I thought about you send a Moti up the order or Chemo Paul up the order, because those are the two guys that this season have come in and put teams under pressure with their scoring rate, whereas the others, and Savory is probably another one, but Imlak, Chandapal, Nandu, Anderson, guys that like to get in, absorb a high number of deliveries at the crease. They didn't need to do that though. They would have taken 280, I think, at the start of the day.
I think when you take wickets regularly, it has an effect. It has a real negative effect on the team. And for 6 to be down at this stage, Harpy Eagles, I probably think they've lost 4 wickets or so too many. 27 overs, 27.4.
Evan Lewis back on the field, was getting some treatment, sustained a few injuries. Goes through the slip cordon and another boundary, more runs to the tally. Things will start to get a bit nervy for the Red Force, who are still in charge.
Yeah, vacant third slip region. Chance goes a begging. Anderson Phillip once again in the business areas, squaring Gudakesh Moti right up. Sometimes you need that luck to kill.
Lewis, just wonder, Mali, this season, if spending more time at the crease, I believe he's going to have a big year in the white ball format, just because he's actually occupied the crease for some time. This innings would have done his career a world of good, because it's been truncated with injury. There's been the stop-start feature 128 for 6, where he's played some games, he's had to miss some games. I think the fluency and the run at the crease could help him. Well, time will tell. We'll see. Maybe next first class season. You have a few things to keep tabs on for me.
Over the next 5 years. But yeah, I think you're right. Evan Lewis has been under a bit of pressure. More of a limited overs format. I think it's taken him a long time to work out that the more cricket he actually plays is the better form and the more and as fit as he can possibly be for the limited overs format. He's out there, he faced quite a few deliveries, batted for a few hours. That would have helped that batting fitness. As he said, 34 years old now, so you can't really overstate just how important an innings that was in the grand scheme of things for him.
Before play today, Malian viewers, there was a special presentation made to the veteran, stalwart, savant of Trinidad and Tobago cricket, Jason Mohammed, when he collected a plaque from the team. It's, of course, his final first-class match and final game for Trinidad and Tobago. Think about how long he's been in this team. 2006, when they won this tournament, he played a game that season. And then he's been there for the next 20 years and has toiled 17 first-class hundreds, 112 games after this one. And you think every year he would have been fighting for that title. His team now 4 wickets away from honoring him with that championship.
It'll be a fantastic way for him to ride off into the sunset. Jason Mohammed played quite well yesterday for his 37. Showed all that experience in that partnership with Evan Lewis.
Time spent at the crease as well. Just took some time out of the game.
Some sting out of the attack. Going down. Probably just. Oh, he's given that. He's given that one. Took him a long time. Umpire took it. I'll have a look at the replay.
In the first innings, we mentioned it. the international quality of Jaden Seals, and that one meant something to him. Every time the Red Force needed a moment, their international superstar produced.
Yeah, he has. What's that? His 8th wicket of the match.
Tuckett thought it was out. Never know, we don't have DRS, of course. It may have been clipping the top of leg.
Possibly.
Nonetheless, though, it's Jaden Seals with a 3rd wicket and potentially the pivotal blow. Valiant effort from Kevin Anderson. He's been dismissed, and it brings the ever resilient Versami Pramal to the crease.
I said 8th wicket of the match. It was actually his 7th. It's quite a tight decision. Didn't quite get up as high maybe as Anderson was anticipating.
Definitely deep in the crease as well, so something else he had going for the decision. Jaden Seals.
Doesn't matter now. The man in the middle, he's the one that matters. He's decided that was adjacent. It brings Versami Pramal to the crease. I wonder if this is possibly as well.
And that delivery there is what Seals has been delivering to Anderson for the majority of the day. The ball that goes away from the right-hander. So when he's used that change-up ball, angling the ball back in, it's caused some difficulty. This is his traditional orthodox delivery.
And you think Jason Mohammed is riding off his last appearance for the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force. You wonder how much longer Versami Pramal will continue in this Harpy Eagles setup as well. He's been a real performer, top performer for the franchise.
Just eager to see where the wicket ball pitched. Look at the white markers, the white paint, exactly on a good length, identical on a good length. Did shit back quite a bit off the pitch. I think that's what did Anderson. Wasn't expecting it. Took a while, Carl Tuckett, to decide, but went the way of Seals, and that one meant a lot. What a superstar this guy is. Honestly, every time they've needed something in this game, Seals has come back.
Don't think he's quite been at his best today, but he's been good enough. Definitely been good enough. Successful over. 29 gone. Still a long way for the Harpy Eagles. 128 for 7. Just 3 wickets for the Red Force. Versami Pramal, 36 years old now. Approaching 700 first-class wickets. Best of 90 with the bat. They'll be hoping he can get close to that in this innings.
It's 3 wickets away now from a special achievement. Seals getting that breakthrough. Now how does Morty go about this? Is he up? Maybe a gear? Anderson Phillip continuing.
I don't think much changes with that wicket in terms of how Moti should go about it here. He's looked quite good. He scored at a good clip, 15 of 19 deliveries. Just got to continue in the same vein. Continue looking to be positive, because it puts you in the best position to then defend if the ball isn't in your area. Anything wide, you'll throw the hands at it. That's why that man in Joshua James is quite wide in that 3rd man position. It's a good bouncer. That's a good bouncer and well played.
We made a lot, Mali, about what this means. We've spoken about the 20 years, but even if you look beyond that, I think Vinod Mamchan said it on day one. The titles have been hard to come by, even for that 2016. It was the first time in 21 years when they won it. Had to go back to 1985. Before that, when the likes of Phil Simmons, David Furlong, Derek Williams was in the team, Anthony Gray. So these players will get the similar feeling if they're to finish the job. And the major thing is going to be for Riyad Emirates and co, if they can get this title delivered, how do they ensure that you don't have another 20-year wait like they've had in the past 2 or 3 championship runs? How can you ensure, like Guyana did when they won 5 in a row, you go back to back and continuously putting out, and you're continuously putting out that talent that feeds in when Ajay Mohammed decides to retire?
To be fair, it's a little surprising when you look at it that they haven't won as much as you think they should have, considering cricket in Trinidad, the amount of players, cricket administration. It's definitely underachieved in the longer format of the game. But you can also say that they've developed some fantastic white ball players as well over the years, some leading T20 limited overs players worldwide. But yeah, it's the red ball format we're dealing with here, with such a rich cricketing history. It's been long waits in between titles.
I really appreciate that. It means so much to them. And one of the things Riyad Emirates told us coming into this game was that what he tried to do, regardless of the results of the games before the season, was to allow his players to understand how much this tournament means, to cherish what achievement it would be to win this. He said he thought players would coming in and out of the team and they're using it as, yes, a way to get into the test team, but do you have that pride that the Brian Laras did when they came back home and played the regional game? I think he's gone a long way in instilling that this year, and maybe it's why they've had that extra push. They've been in and around the system, top 3, sometimes top 2, but they haven't had that push to actually win it.
I think in a tournament as short as this, the better prepared players coming into the tournament would be the ones that would have had the success. There's no coincidence that it's the Harpy Eagles and the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force in this format of the game, to me. A few international players or players of international experience in this setup. Both setups, to be fair. So you expect them to bring that professionalism, but also knowing and recognizing the situation where the season isn't that long. So we've got to be hitting our straps almost from day one. Just one bad game or one bad day here or there could really knock you out of contention.
I think bat hit ground there. What I can appreciate about the format as well, the format of the tournament, is that yes, you only had the 3 games in the preliminaries, but when the Red Force got into that 2 and 3 spot and they had to play a playoff to try to get into the final, all of a sudden you're asking players to deliver in a knockout game, not once but twice. And in previous seasons where you have your 10 games, usually it's the team with the most points at the end declared winners. So that was a different aspect to it this year, where sometimes in a bilateral test series you've got to win that next test match to win the series. So it brought something different, a different element for players, and maybe a different pressure for them to experience.
Definitely. I know you've been watching quite keenly as well. I'd love to ask you about your hometown franchise, the Barbados Pride. What did you make of them this season?
I think they'll feel like they underperformed. Obviously, to get into that top 3 was a decent achievement. They lost the game to the Jamaica Scorpions, ended up having to win the 3rd and final game, but they would have felt like they should have had a place in this final because of the personnel. But I think good to see a coming of age of someone like a Kevin Wickham with not just 100, not just 150, but 300s. Yes, it was against the same bowling attack, but that insatiable hunger is what we need to see in our batters to want to get 3, 4, 500s.
We've seen some fantastic seam bowling from both teams actually in this match. There's a lot of talk going around the Caribbean and also in Barbados about there being maybe a crisis of pace bowling in that country. Is that something you share?
Crisis?
Yeah.
Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. There's a pace bowling crisis going on in Barbados. They're saying the fastest bowler probably this season for Barbados was Jaya McAllister. And then you looked at his returns, I think he got 1 or 2 wickets.
Yeah,
this
in terms of pace, maybe, but I wouldn't say. I mean, I think pace is, in terms of guys who can get up to 140 kilometers per hour consistently, that's an issue regionally. I think around the region, you're not finding 2 and 3 guys emerge from each nation that can bowl those speeds. So I don't necessarily think it's a crisis. I actually think some of the younger seamers coming through in Barbados are quite exciting. The Jediah Blades, the Ramon Simmons, Jakeem Pollard, I think, as a left-arm seamer, is a real talent.
Okay.
But
Interesting. Yeah, it's a lot of talk going around the cricket aficionados in Barbados. They would have been disappointed not to be here in this showpiece event. That cricketing history and a rich cricketing history of fast bowling. So I think that's what they're comparing that to.
And I suppose when you look at the returns of the faster bowlers in the 3 games, that would have disappointed people. Shamar Springer stood out with 7 wickets, but I more thought the question was alluding to the entire system in Barbados, and I don't think it's a crisis where you can't find faster bowlers. Maybe just about refining, and there are a few programs coming up in Barbados and across the Caribbean that are encouraging fast bowling. I think soon the Cricket West Indies are having a fast bowling camp. And remember, they've got new bowling consultant Otis Gibson. So he's going to help bring through a new generation and help refine a new generation of faster bowlers. For someone like Jakeem Pollard to work with Otis Gibson, I'm really excited to see the results. 131 for 7. A couple of runs to end the over.
When you look at that Barbados Pride bowling lineup, you had a Johan Lane, still quite young.
Forgot him, yeah. He's a big one.
He is, but it's that extra that we're talking about.
That's the middle.
Especially with what we're seeing from Jaden Seals, Anderson Phillip. Who is that in that Barbados Pride setup? I think a strong Barbados is needed for West Indies cricket.
Kemar Roach been present this year, would the conversation be different?
I think that's the thing. That's the thing. I think that's the question, and that's what a lot of people have been talking about. Without a Jason Holder, a Kemar Roach, is the talent pool big enough or even good enough at this stage? That's been a lot of the chatter I've seen going around.
Yeah, but I think if you remove Shamar Joseph, Jaden Seals, Anderson Phillip from their respective teams, you're asking the same question about those nations. Who would be the fast bowlers for the Red Force? Terrence Hines would be seen as that new ball bowler.
They have a different history, Nikhil. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Well, like history
yeah,
change.
Yeah,
systems evolve.
They do evolve, but
Joshua Bishop has taken close to 80 wickets in the last 3 seasons. He's a Barbadian.
They devolve as well. They don't only evolve, they devolve. And I think that's what the point.
Well,
until we get honest with the way we're assessing our cricket, we're going to be stuck in this situation.
All I'm saying is it can't be one way for one nation. And
no, definitely
you're telling
not.
me that other nations don't have the same issue.
No, we're
They do.
talking about Barbados at the moment. We've
But
spoken
why?
about all these other franchises.
Why? They're not in this final. What about the Leeward Islands? Do they have a fast bowling problem? What their culture has been currently Ambrose.
But this is what I'm saying. It's a West Indian perspective. We're speaking about a West Indian perspective. We're talking about teams that have won championships, how long it's taken, 20 years. Barbados is one of those teams that's pretty much always near the top of the table. So this is what I'm saying. It's West Indies cricket we're doing here. Maybe Guyana and Trinidad.
And they are on top of the they're near the top of the table again this season. They finished third.
Okay, come and talk to me in 2 years. Come and talk to me in 2 years, because you're not actually hearing what I'm saying. You're looking at those fast bowling stocks. Are you encouraged? I'm not that encouraged. You mentioned Raymond Simmons. You mentioned Jediah Blades. They've been on the scene for a few years now. What's going to change for them to make them go to the next level?
That's down to the franchise to develop. But I'm telling you, I'm looking at, you're asking me if I'm encouraged, and I look at Johan Lane at 22 and think, is he a complete bowler? By no estimation. I think he has a lot of years to grow. I look at Jakeem Pollard at 19. I'm excited by that prospect. Jediah Blades at 24. I'm excited by that prospect.
I'm not that excited by that prospect, to be fair. But we differ on that. Think about it. These guys aren't blowing people away.
I think you're asking a bit much for guys
I'm
in their
not.
infancy of, and you made the point yesterday, a really good point about the lack of cricket that guys are playing. So we've got to be a bit more graceful in terms of, or patient is the right word, in terms of their development and how quickly we expect them to evolve and develop.
Yeah, but what you won't understand, Nikhil, is that they won't actually develop in the way that they should. And they'll get to 30 and they'll be lost, and then it'll be another generation going through the absolute same thing. I'm a bit older than you. I've been seeing this now for about 25 years, Nikhil. You understand what I'm saying? This is what I'm saying. We're on the verge of losing another whole generation, of not reaching their full potential. It's stark. It's stark.
So can you tell me what the solution is then?
Well, you need to tell me what's going on in Barbados. That's why I'm asking you. Because like we say, we need a strong Barbados team as well. So you can't just be looking around the regions talking about everyone else. We need to know what's going on in Barbados to why the fast bowlers aren't coming through. That's what I'm saying.
What I would say is that I think you're being a little harsh on Barbados particularly. I think it extends to a regional issue in terms of developing the current generation, not just Barbados.
This is what I'm saying though, Nikhil. I'm basing this off of the Barbados cricket chat. Right? I have an Antiguan passport, so I'm looking at a Barbados cricket chat. Right? And it's been a hot topic of discussion.
Now,
so that's why I brought it to you.
Okay, I appreciate that. What I would say is, yes, that's a valid concern, and you could look at examples in the past of guys like a Shamar Holder, a Keon Harding, who are no longer playing for Barbados. But I would say, and those people are focusing on Barbados as Barbadians, but I would say there are countless examples around the region of this happening. It's not just happening in Barbados. So obviously we need to look at our system regionally in terms of how we're bringing through those faster bowlers. I like the discussion. I think in the past 4 days we've had some excellent discussions.
Well, you can tell we're passionate about West Indies cricket. And that's what really it's about. We all want to see, we both want to see West Indies cricket get back to a level that we can really be proud of. And we need to do it together. It needs to be that collective we. Not W-E, but W-I.
And I know people were quite shocked when I said we need to be more patient. Let's give this current crop a few years. So the ones that are now entering the academy, Nathan Edward, for example, is one. Kevin Pittman, we spoke about his development. Those guys now are like in Antigua right now, training, spending time training every day. Let's give it a year and a half or 2 years and see if they actually improve. And then I think we'd be able to tell a bit more about their evolution.
Right, and that's the disappointing thing for me with this tournament. That momentum was being built over the past 2 seasons. Obviously, you've got financial constraints, but it is what it is. That momentum was being built. The players were being prepared and also given the opportunities. They were having those quality first-class games in which to exhibit those skills. And I think Joshua Bishop would have benefited from that over the past couple of seasons. Bishop, Kirk McKenzie, Rivaldo Clark, they would have benefited, even a Kevlon Anderson, from a setup such as that. Johan Lane probably wouldn't have made the West Indies team at all had he not been given those opportunities. So that's what I mean. Gotta keep that momentum, gotta keep it going. Obviously, try and find creative ways in which to get these players up to speed. But at the end of the day, it must be said, you did just say it, regionally it is a problem.
For Sami Pomal has done well. We've had this good discussion, but quietly he's been quite persistent and just happy to defend whilst Moti attack from the other end. Definitely when you look at that top 4, we're in a good place in terms of the Josephs, Seals, Kimar Roach, you mentioned Jason Holder, Justin Graves, but then you look at the tier below that and you'll think that's where we need to develop so that when those guys come into the test format, the faster bowlers, you don't feel like the deficiency and the void is that large.
Exactly.
But I really want to give the West Indies Academy project some time. And I know people will say that the Academy has been around for a long time, but just speaking to some people involved, I think they're heading in a different direction. And I want to give, with Otis Gibson coming in, at least a year to see if the faster bowlers especially evolve. So next season when Kelvin Pittman comes back to bowl, is it more than just one innings of a 6-foot? Can he actually maybe get 15 to 20 wickets in that season? I think we'll then have a better indication of if the system is working. Wicket finally, and it's the critical one of Gudakesh Moti. Have the Red Force just won the title? They're close, that's for sure.
You spoke about how Moti would go about in this innings. This time choosing to go across the line, took his eye off the ball, probably for the first time in this innings, just losing a bit of concentration. From around the wicket, Terence Hines. Inward movement, just a wild swing. It was in his area, just need to be a bit more controlled, and we see that celebration once again. So Moti has to go. What's that, 8 down now? And I think Trinidad and Tobago Red Force, they've got one hand on that trophy at the moment.
We know Shamar Joseph, he'll certainly play shots, so if he's anything to, if he has his way rather, he'll be making sure that he makes it quite difficult. Some compacting going on of the landing area. Terence Hines struggling with a bit of a leg injury, lower leg injury, maybe. Tell us about this, Mali. What effect does that tool have?
Well, what it does, it just makes that landing area a bit more firm. Bowlers have issues when they don't feel they can land or put that foot down with force. It really does affect the rhythm. And also with the foot marks, at times it's just a little uneven. So it's just a few things to think about when landing that front foot. Something you don't often talk about in the game of cricket. Even when the batter's in his stance, there's a lot of holes and hills and gullies that can just throw a batter off balance. Some of the little things that go into the game. Just 2 wickets to get now though.
Very quietly, Terrence Hines has contributed in a massive way in this game. We spent a lot of time speaking, of course, and deservedly so, of Jaden Seals and Evan Lewis. Phillip continuing. But everyone has played their part. Think about Joshua James today with a couple of wickets before lunch. Terrence Hines in both innings has gotten valuable runs. 3 wickets in the first innings. Now following it up with, again, critical wickets.
Vital runs and wickets. Shows you the importance of having these all-rounders in your setup. Looking to take him on down the ground, just enough movement, and that's something that's been very impressive from this Trinidad and Tobago Red Force unit. In these conditions, they presented an upright seam more often than not, and they've gotten the ball to move consistently, whether it's through the air or off the pitch.
Stayed a touch low. Shamar Joseph, well, with Mali, you know exactly how he's going to play. Don't have to think about it or question it.
Especially at this stage, still 147 to get.
147 though, it doesn't feel that far away.
Doesn't it?
You just wonder, had someone occupied the crease with Anderson, let's say Savory for example, with Anderson until lunch, they would be walking this game home at this stage, the Harper Eagles. And it's easier said than done. You have to give credit to the Red Force, the pressure they've put on. But it just feels like the Harper Eagles have rushed a touch too early. You always hear guys, teams talk about it in a run chase on a final day. Get to tee and then we assess. You think maybe the first innings loss and the fact that they didn't get the points almost maybe played into Trinidad's favour in the sense that they feel they have to win the game and draw is not an option?
But then Trinidad, with the way they batted today, just threw the initiative right back to the Harpy Eagles. With losing those 2 quick wickets early. What's that, 8 deliveries was all it took.
Yeah, that was a real opportunity. They would have been thinking overnight 320, 350, back the entire first hour. Within 10 minutes, they were changing innings.
Exactly. With the run chase below 300. Slashed away over the slip region. So Shamar Joseph, as he said, Nikhil, he's not gonna go down without fighting. Bit of width outside that off stump. Throws the hands at it. No one in that vacant third man region. Joshua James is very wide.
Yeah, buckle up, folks, as the deep third fielder now in place for that edge that carries. Because with Shamar Joseph, you know it's going to be entertaining. And it probably excite Anderson Phillip and think he's close to that third wicket with Joseph coming after him.
Bit similar to Savory, the way he went about it. Just need one to not hit the middle. This one, does he pick out that fine leg fielder? No, he doesn't. He's looking to take on the sharp ball, Shamar Joseph. 3 seamers. 3 West Indian seamers just in shot. He's got 3 slips for the right-handed Permal. Cephas Cooper in at gully. It's a backward point, extra cover and mid-off.
139 for 8. And time for a drink. 139 for 8 post drinks. So 1 hour after the lunch break. I was flowing, Mali. So what happens when you have fun?
Wow, that's what you call it?
That in that discussion has, I think, got many people's juices flowing.
A lot of messages coming in. Hines to continue though. From the Sir Andy Roberts end, as he spoke about. It's just been a quiet performer, hasn't he? Almost goes below the radar, under the radar, Terrence Hines. This one's high. Off the glove. 9 down. We were just speaking about it. Just rushing Shamar Joseph slightly. Looking to take on that short ball. And with Hines, with that slingy action, it doesn't quite get up as high. And he thudded into that glove. Easy catch to Joshua De Silva. Trinidad and Tobago just 1 wicket away now.
How often have we seen this during the 4 days where after a break, a wicket just falls? Shamar Joseph trying to be aggressive as usual. Doesn't quite execute on that one, and he knows he's close, Joshua De Silva, close from being the captain that delivers the long-awaited title.
And once again, Nikhil, you spoke about this earlier. Another Harpy Eagles batter almost contributing to their own downfall. Not really giving themselves the best opportunity. It's proven to be a real Achilles heel for them. Started with the openers, and since then they've really struggled to stop the regular fall of wickets, to the point that the Red Force are just 1 away now. 1 wicket away from a first title in 20 years. Port of Spain all around Trinidad. They'll be tuned in. This is the delivery now. Smith coming in at number 11.
Hear it, feel it. They're on the brink of history.
This was the wicket again. Terrence Hines from over the wicket. Just a bit of shape back into the left-handed Shamar Joseph. Wasn't quite there. Went for the pull nonetheless. Got big on him. He had to go. So his season comes to an end. Time for him to put his feet up. He'll be a little disappointed with the way they've gone about this chase. A little smarter, or even just a bit more application. Things could have been very different here, even though the Red Force have bowled very well. You look through this lineup, Shandapal going for a duck. In fact, just one. It was Nandu going for a duck. Imlak spent a bit of time at the crease. Anderson and Savory, they almost led that rear guard, but since then, Van Lang, Paul, Moti, contributed somewhat.
If this man was saying Soca Warriors, is that soft team? Huh? No, I don't think he's talking again.
Even Carrie
I think
Pierre,
he was saying Soca Warriors.
A quiet guy.
the most quiet on the team.
It's what we were talking about yesterday with Niall Smith. Seemed to have all his energy when he was out in the field, not when he had ball in hand. And these Trinidad and Tobago Red Force players are just reminding him of that.
I think your words, Mali, where he was leading the wrong charge.
Yeah.
I told you he leads the eagle noise charge.
Right? You need
You
to
said
lead.
he
You need to be a leader with the ball. Just touching down on that Austin Peter Shaper movement once again, as we see the champions banner almost just coming out. It's at the moment on the side of the Harpy Eagles. Have they gone too early, Nikhil? Have they gone too early?
prize money on offer. And remember, defending champions for 3 years in a row, the Harper Eagles. You could see a shift. It's done. It's over. The 2-decade wait is finished. Hungry, thirsty, desperate. A coveted cricketing nation finally has the final jewel in the crown. For the first time since 2006, the Red Force are 4-day champions.
20 years of hurt comes to an end. Just look at the scenes, the jubilation, the congratulations. As we see that jubilant backroom staff and the players, Terence Hines picking up that final wicket. And they'll be hoping they won't have to wait another 20, but for now, they'll be celebrating this one. It will be a sweet victory indeed to dethrone the champions as well. Makes it extra sweeter. To win this match by some 142 runs, Trinidad and Tobago Red Force have won the 2026 Regional 4-Day Championship. Rayad Emrit, the coach, the rest of his backroom staff, congratulations to them.
And just imagine, Mali, Rayad Emrit was a player the last time they won this. Think about Brian Lara, Phil Simmons, Ian Bishop, the forefathers of Trinidad and Tobago cricket, how this will make them feel to know they've finally delivered. Emirates has delivered on his promise of bringing a title, and for the Harper Eagles, you feel for them 3 titles in a row and coming up close. They played their cricket hard, but in the end, the Red Force just that bit better.
Great to see that, the way they're going through the both teams. Handshakes, bit of a hug there from Kemo Paul and Rayad Emrit. Good to see. It's quite intense competition, let me say, over the 4 days. It's keenly contested. At times things are threatened to go over the edge, but this was the final wicket. This was the moment. Terence Hines castling Niles Smith, and the celebrations were on the way. Hines finished with 3 wickets for 20 in his 7 overs. Jaden Seals 3 for 39, Anderson Phillip 2 for 63, and Josh James 2 for 12. He would have made a very valuable contribution as well, Josh James, in his 4 overs, picking up those 2 wickets, removing Jonathan Van Lang and Kemo Paul. Celebrations, congratulations to the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force. 20 years of hurt has come to an end. They are the 2026 champions. Spare a thought for the Harper Eagles. Coming up second here today. They've helped to make this the spectacle that it's been at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium. These are the highlights. Evan Lewis resuming on 100 not out. Ended up falling for 122. That was the first wicket. Took just 8 deliveries for the Harper Eagles to wrap up this innings. There's Sami Pamal finishing with 4 for. But it was Jaden Seals, the standout bowler in this match for the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force, picking up that first wicket of Matthew Nandu, going for a duck. Shanda Paul, uncharacteristically big stroke early in his innings, no real foot movement, inside edge. Phillip picked up his first. They brought Kevlin Anderson to the crease. He looked quite assured to begin with. Just allowing the ball to come on. That one straying down the legs. Anything on the legs, he was very strong, quick to clip away. It was Imlak. Beautiful delivery. The delivery before that was caressed through the covers. This one, good comeback delivery. Savory came to the crease and he was looking to put pressure back onto the bowlers. Anything just over pitched. He's looking to go downtown. This one was hit even better than the previous one. Went for a 6, sailed some 20 yards or so over the boundary. But this was the wicket. Slightly outside the off stump, throwing the hands at it once again. Joshua James barely had to move, took a tumbling catch. Brought Jonathan Van Lang, as we know now, playing in his second first-class match. Didn't have a long stay at the crease. He went LBW for 10 to Josh James. Kimo Paul announced his arrival at the crease with quite an authoritative stroke to the offside. This was the wicket once again, the second time in the match in which Josh James would have removed Kimo Paul full in length. Slight movement in, picked out mid-on, and he had to go. This was a quite tight LBW decision. Umpire Tuckett thought that was probably just clipping leg stump. That was Terence Hines cleaning up Gudakesh Moti for 18. Spent some time at the crease, faced 32 deliveries, hit 2 boundaries. Shamar Smith's stay at the crease was short. Just 9 minutes or so for him, and this was the moment. Niall Smith in at number 11, goes for a duck. Terence Hines with his 3rd wicket means that Trinidad and Tobago win this match and are 2026 Regional 4-Day champions. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have the post-match presentation with Nikhil Uttamchandani.
Katimbo ki? Omanyi kyenjagala? Nva ne ku movie, ekirala kyenjagala okimanyi? Mbadde ndowooza mugenda ku ssaawa Nyanzi gye tugire okuva ku 3 paka ku 4. Kale obuzibu emisana nange mba nnoonyaamu ekiro lwe nfuna ku budde. Katyongobye tojja kwawe TV mpozi wano kasipiini kanaagira naye nga ekituufu wandinyigiriza ekola kale kati nkere saawa mmeka ogenda kujja saawa mmeka? Saawa 5 jangu ekyemisana tukiri eno. Siriwalira muliyawo bwe jangu ekyemisana ekyali tukinywera eno. Angambye oba najja eyo. Obuzibu kati ewaggulu ne bweba ngenzi mba siri okukola. Olaba yali obudde bw'ekiro. Enku zino ssente zeetaaga bubi nnyo. Tina ntono. Okulaba akafaiva ngenda kensoli omayinza eno alina ekizibu ekyannemesa ne FIFA kubadde nga sizannya games esasobola konsoli esasobola kugula kompyuta gyenina bwe batasobola kugira sigizannya ate era owa 5 ngenda mwesobibwa gatwekubya ekisiru yetwekubya gatuvayo gatwesomera kalwake nakuwamu kabaka walayisikwongera kasanazula nti olinamu kagambo kasiddamu kukuwamu ne ashi bwetu yatandika ashi omaenaku zeyankuba Asani yakubita wakuttemu just obuntu bubiri. Kakati kyengezaho okugamba kyeki kyenagaye nga tutandika emboze nti buli muntu wadde aba tamanyi kintu naye ng'alinako ID bw'atandika alina akantu k'akola ng'olina osooka omwetegezo naye nti asani bwemba aliwakuba asani mentalite wabula omuntu general mentalite ye kati gwe general mentalite yo naye yeyange naye ate gwe ate okisuusa asani bwotandisogera wansi bwoti kigenda kukubya eyo isagala kuseme eyo nfu nnyo kasita obeera ng'obadde oli wansi n'agikuba
kano obeera kati eno sitamana gikubekwatira
kati byonna nga woba oli wakuba muntu olina okakasanaomusembe naye okimanyi nti nno byakuba ebyo aba yeegaadinga kitono teyeegaadinga waliwo buno obuterepooti nga buno obwomuterepooti ebinyizeeyo obuterepooti
era noddamu nekuba emabega
era ekyo ne bw'anaagireeta sira mwabirutandisa okwekuba nga mukuta babiri temutega bomu awantu wonna
tubeereyo nga tukusalira
nange walabi munsabire munsabire enkole emirimu gyammwe
tebiina nnyo makulu tukwagala wali
wano si kyangu
wali ebalina amakulu
ebintu by'okumpita eyo ewakatonda yake mumpita nyo wakatonda katonda oyo tanjagala nakolayo edda emisango nakola edda emisango katonda takyanjagala
Bigize 3,000 genda kumwongera
naye 3,000